You are listening to Larry Connors, USA.
You want answers?
I think I'm entitled.
You want answers?
I want the truth!
You can't handle the truth!
This is Larry Connors, USA. Larry Connors, USA.
I woke up this morning, got myself a gun. Mama always said I'd be the chosen one.
What were the founding fathers worried about when they signed the Declaration of Independence? They were signing their death warrants when they signed the Declaration of Independence. If Britain found those men, they were going to hang them, they were going to burn their property, enslave their families, they would erase them. That's what they were up against. That's what they were risking to push back against a tyrannical force like England. And they were willing to do it. You know, give me liberty or give me death was not some bumper sticker. It wasn't a hashtag. It was the attitude that it took to found this country.
Outstanding remarks by John Rich of the Big and Rich Country Team. This is July 12, 2021. You're going to hear more from John Rich over the next 2 hours. And, of course, he's talking about music, the entertainment, all the cancel culture going on in all parts of our country. But look what's happening in Cuba right now. Right now, thousands are on the streets demanding freedom. They want to be like the USA. They're even carrying American flags in many cases, calling out for freedom. Many of the Democrats are on the wrong side of this. The Marxist, Sanders, AOC, even Harris, do you hear them say anything? You haven't heard really anything from them. There was a kind of a statement from Biden that we support people trying to have freedom. I wonder who had to approve that before he could say it. And, of course, then we also have a member of the State Department sending out something saying, and we praise them. And yet the New York Times writing an article that people were in the streets of Cuba shouting out freedom. And the government is corrupt, and adding an other, in addition to the word shouting out for freedom, and other words of dissent. We're going to get into this in a lot more detail in the next 2 hours. It's critical. What's happening in Cuba and this nation, our response, again, just 90 miles from our shores. And Democrats all across the nation, blue cities, blue states, they're complicit in basically keeping Cuban people incarcerated. Trump, of course, was at the CPAC over the weekend, Dallas, the Conservative Political Action Conference. He laid out some things we need to keep in mind. Biden's holding a crime conference today. Really, you need to have a conference to figure out why we have so much crime? How stupid is that? Then we have more confusion over the vaccine. It's kind of a car blinker thinking. Is it working? Is it not? Yes, no, yes, no. Remember Harris and her VP debate with Pence? Will you take the vax if Trump approves it? Yes, no, yes, no. Dr. Fake, yes, no on the Pfizer extension and booster, CDC, yes, no. And we're supposed to believe everything they say when they have so much confusion, much less being mandated. I have a couple of big movie stars with views of Americans I want to share with you. One of them, Matt Damon, researching a movie being shot in Oklahoma, basically dealing with oil field workers, and one in particular based on a true story. Matt Damon had his eyes open when he saw this middle America look. Oil field trash, redneck, and his view of them is they're great people. That's not going to make the elites in Hollywood very happy. And Morgan Freeman, I want to take you back to an interview that he did with Don Lemon Fruitcake, 2014. Lemon's trying to say, hey, well, you know, that everybody can pull themselves up by their bootstraps. Morgan Freeman says, BS. And it's a good message for every American, regardless of your color or your status. Cancel culture, as we say, continues. The country music, we're going to hear from John Rich of Big and Rich in more detail about that. And the big issue of our founding fathers, as you heard a moment ago. And one piece of music right now that a lot of stations, country stations, are not playing because the country music industry more controlled by liberals. You would think otherwise. You're not right. It's controlled by liberals. And then, should parents lose control of their children? Should they lose their actual custodial care of their children if the child wants to be a transgender and the parent says, that's not my child, that's not right, that's not what you want? Oh, there's talk of doing that, taking the children away from the parents. The FBI wants to start spying on each other on a constant basis. And then remember the Lego set that they confiscated from one of those who was inside the Capitol? A Lego set of the Capitol? Oh, we got a lot to cover. Lock and load. Ready on the right.
You can email Larry at LarryConnorsUSA@gmail.com. LarryConnorsUSA@gmail.com.